All right, guys, let's get down to business. If you've been following my stories lately, you know that I just launched my health coaching business. I'm really excited about it. This is something I've been working towards for a very long time through my own health struggles, and I'm just so glad that I'm at the other end of it where I get to start helping people with an amazing program, which I'll talk about later. But if you watch my stories, you know that I asked for everybody's input on informational videos that they would like to see from a health coach. And I gave some examples. And I'm gonna eventually get through all of the topics, but the one that everybody really wanted to know about is cutting through dietary confusion and what actually is healthy and what's not healthy. And there's two reasons I absolutely love this topic. One is because there's so many trendy diets out there. Everybody's like, this diet's the best, and this diet's the best, and this diet's the best. And then there's like, coconut oil is good for you. No, coconut oil is bad for you. And there's just all of this crazy stuff out there, and it just causes so much confusion. And what I'm about to tell you just clears all of it up. And I also have my personal story is so aligned with the concept I'm about to share with you, and I'll delve into my personal story a little bit as well. So this is top secret information, not top secret information, but what is healthy and what diet is the best and what do you need to do to live the best life? There's no correct answer. And that is what most people are shocked by, because this is something that I truly, truly believe is that what is healthy for you is not healthy for someone else. And what might be healthy for someone else is not necessarily healthy for you. With that said, there are some things that just aren't healthy for anybody, and that's pretty obvious. Some people don't even know how much of this that they eat, and that's processed foods. So general rule of thumb when you're on a health journey is to move away from processed foods. Anything in a box, anything in a can, and just try to eat as many whole raw foods or cooked as possible. But even with that, there's so many people who are like, this diet's the best, right? Paleo is super trendy right now. And I actually have a lot of experience with the paleo diet. And I'll share a little bit more about that in a little bit. But another thing that I want to share with people about being healthy. So if there's no correct diet, what's healthy for someone else might not be healthy for you, or vice versa. The beauty in that is that our bodies are a wonderful, wonderful tool to experiment with, to figure out what works for us. And this is where my personal story comes into play. So I was pregnant I just had my second daughter, and I was breastfeeding, and she was breaking out in rashes and stuff. And someone told me, like, might be gluten, might be dairy, might be this, might be that. So I had a friend who had just gone paleo, and I was like, oh, it's a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. She's really excited about it. We could do it together, be accountable. And I went super, super strict paleo for 6 months. There's two reasons I love this story. Number one, it taught me to listen to my body, and it taught me how to tell when something just wasn't right for me when it came to food and nutrition. And the second thing that it taught me is that just because it works for someone else does not mean that it's going to work for you. So we'll get to the first part. How it helped me to discover what really worked for my body. So after 6 months of being strict paleo, like super, super strict paleo, my daughter was turning 6 months old, and someone's like, well, why don't you try to reintroduce gluten and dairy? And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I ate a sandwich with some regular bread or something like that. And I got so sick. I was so sick and realized that I had a problem with gluten, which I would have never even thought, because my normal was kind of feeling not great, kind of bloated, kind of just like stomach cramps. Like I had always kind of had stomach problems, but it never occurred to me that it might be gluten. And the same exact thing happened with dairy. I tried to reintroduce dairy and I just could not tolerate it. Like it wasn't so much in my stomach with dairy. I would get sinus infections, ear infections, my ears would hurt. I would immediately get a headache and runny nose. And it was kind of like empowering, because I was like, oh, I can listen to my body, and my body knows and has signs and is telling me what works for me. Now, I don't suggest, as a coach, I do not suggest everybody go dairy-free and gluten-free, but that is what my body needs. As a coach, I will tell you that if you have a feeling that we can experiment with it with your body and eliminate it for a short period of time and reintroduce and see how you do. But I'm not everybody should be gluten-free. Everybody needs to be gluten-free, because I know that everybody's different. So to the next part of the story, so paleo, and then I started having health issues. Back up a little bit. Started having some stomach issues. I started having some inflammation and some joint pain. And I had even doctors telling me, well, paleo is really good for that. Or here's the autoimmune protocol, or here's the anti-inflammatory diet, or here's this diet, or here's that diet. And I was just so overwhelmed and like, oh my God, whatever. I'm just going to stick to paleo. I know it. I've done it before. I'm just going to do it. I hear it's a good diet for the issues that I'm having. So went back to paleo. I did the Whole30 a couple of times, I think 2 or 3 times. The first time I realized I really can't tolerate white potatoes and sugar. Like I cannot do processed sugar at all. I stick to honey, maple syrup, so that's back to the experimenting and learning to listen to your body. But over time, I was being told, like, you're on a great diet, like you should be feeling better. And I wasn't feeling better. My symptoms were actually getting worse on the paleo diet. I was having restless leg, restless arm, just horrible joint pain, chronic fatigue. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. I had no energy. And it was so frustrating, because I was like, but I eat so healthy. And I was doing stress management. Like, that is a whole different video right there. Is like, you can be eating healthy, but if your stress levels are through the roof, it's really not going to help much. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, and I was following the diet, and I was on the diet that was supposed to be the best. And then I got tested for allergies. Turns out I'm allergic to eggs. And I would have never known. I love eggs. I didn't really have much of a reaction. It's not a stomach reaction. So a lot of people think that or it doesn't make me itch, or like it's not a normal reaction. It causes pain in my joints and hands. But I would have never even thought to eliminate eggs until I had this one doctor who's a functional medicine doctor, which I do think they're the best. And he said, go off eggs for 2 weeks. He's like, it looks, so the way they test you, we won't go into that. But so he said, looks like you're allergic to eggs. I don't know, you might be fine. But go off of it for 2 weeks and then try to reintroduce. It wasn't until I didn't eat eggs for 2 weeks that I noticed a reaction. And within hours, I had horrible stomach cramps. My hands were swelling. It was awful. So it's like, I can't be paleo because it's a lot of eggs. So I have to be paleo without eggs. And also, through much more discovery, I can't eat that much meat. And I'm okay with beans, and I'm okay with a little bit of quinoa. Too much rice, I can't handle. So I truly, truly believe in this concept, is that there is as many correct diets in the world as there are as many correct diets, let me rephrase that, as there are people in the world. And if you have been struggling with finding what's healthy for you, a health coach would just be a great option for you to give you some simple action steps to get you going on a truly healthy path for you and not what's going on with trendy whatever's going on. So thank you for watching. This was my first video, so I know it's a little longer, but I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and feel free to DM me if you would like to know more about my 90-day total health transformation coaching program.